Welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas Cards, Day 3, 2014 with Justine. Today we're going to learn how to make a really fun shabby chic Christmas card. Now let's get started. Okay, so today's card was inspired by a card I saw in online card classes. I'm taking the Holiday Card Workshop 2014, and this was inspired by a card by Sherry Carroll. Now this video is mainly going to focus on how do you get a look that you see on YouTube or on Pinterest or wherever without having to buy those exact products and without having to spend a ton of money? So the first thing that Sherry used was she used a light gray cardstock. Of course I don't have that similar cardstock. I don't have that brand. I don't have that shade, but I had something similar, and it's really important to just focus on what you do have in your stash. So I created this 5.5 by 4.25 inch top folding card. I apologize a little bit in advance for this video. The first part of the card is actually an explanation of how I created this card, and the second half is a full video tutorial because my iPad ran out of space, needless to say, and I accidentally deleted the video. Alright, so the first thing I did was I saw that she created a 2 by 5 inch white piece of cardstock and embossed it using a floral embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp. I don't have it, so I used one from Close to My Heart that was similar. Again, look in your stash for things that you have, things that will still make the card look fantastic and make it your own instead of just copying someone else. The next thing I did was I created this banner. Now it was a stitched banner from Simon Says Stamp, so I did a little bit of stitching with my white gel pen. I cut out two pieces, one of this gray cardstock and one of the patterned paper that I found from Stampin' Up. She created her own pattern paper. Again, I don't have anything similar, so I just grabbed a piece of paper that had a similar color palette. I cut off the top part of it, and then I attached it to the gray banner. And then she put it just on the top of that white piece of paper. Okay, I'm just going to set this off to the side. We'll glue it all down later. The next thing she had was a Polaroid sort of snapshot die cut from Simon Says Stamp that said Merry Christmas in it. And I thought to myself, okay, I can make this with Cricut Design Space. So I created a frame from Artbooking. I ended up clicking Add Text and added my Merry Christmas. And I added these snowflakes on the bottom, which I ended up cutting off anyway because I didn't really like the way they looked. But I thought I would just give it a try and see what it looked like. Now I'm a person that likes to buy things, and these dies from Simon Says Stamp are irresistible that she used. But I went and looked in my Cricut Design Space, and I found a couple of snowflakes that I liked. And as you know, I usually go through these videos, and I kind of make them as I go, so I cut out two, and we're going to see which one we like better. So this one is from the one I ended up using, and this one here, I kind of tested it out, and I'm going to end up using that for sure on another project because I love the detail of those snowflakes. As you can see, I have a purple heart that I cut out. I didn't actually end up liking the look of it that I recreated from the picture and inspiration that I took. So again, I'm not going to go through that, but I am going to leave this part of the video because I show you here how I did the gel pen stitching. And so I think that is a good technique to learn. And this is what I did on the banner one before I couldn't show you because I was just explaining what I did. So I just go along and I make little lines and with my white gel pen. It's a Uniball gel pen. It's my favorite white one. It goes over top of Distress ink, as you can see, cardstock, it doesn't matter. And I just make little lines, all freehand. Alright, so even though I end up getting rid of it, you'll kind of get to see it there. The next step I did was I cut out two small banners, one from that Gray Whisper cardstock, and another one from the pattern paper that we used before on the banner. I'm just going to do another stitching on that. I don't need to bother doing it all the way around actually, but I did it anyway, as I end up covering the top portion of it. So I'm just going to arrange those and see how I like them. I think I'm going to stick them underneath this Polaroid. And I'm not exactly sure how they're going to end up being glued down yet, but this is what I like about making these really detailed cards, is that I like to go step by step, see what I like, take off pieces, add more, and just go along with the inspiration that I get from the card without necessarily copying it exactly. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of mingle around with a few embellishments here and kind of see what I like. I have a lot of sort of vintage looking embellishments, some little pearls. I have that big pearl that you just saw. I also have some gold washi tape, and I have some gold shimmer trim. that we can use, and we're just going to play around here. Okay, so I'm going to actually create a little bit of a hemp bow. So I cut a long piece. I tend to make my bows big, and then I end up kind of sizing them down to the way I like it. And with fake nails, this can be a little bit of a process. Of course, I did it off the screen and it worked no problem. It was super easy, and then I do it on screen and it doesn't work. You know how it is. So just bear with me for a second here. And I create really big loops, and then I pull the strings until I have it the way I like it. And I'm just going to glue that knot on the bow underneath the M in Christmas so that it doesn't end up covering too much of my sentiment. Alright, I glued my bow just under the M. I'm just going to wrap these around this hemp here and attach it with a piece of tape. You can use regular Scotch tape. I have some masking tape on hand that I might add to this card. Okay, now it comes to the fun part of putting it together. Now I do have a couple of choices here. I can make it so this part is the 3D part, or I can make it so the ridges are the 3D part. I think I like this better. The next thing I thought was I have quite a few really pretty gold accents, and I was thinking to myself maybe I should add a little bit of gold to this card. Now this is my favorite thing about watching people's tutorials and seeing people's artwork, is making something similar but then really making it my own. So my idea is something like that, or I also have some gold shimmer trim, which I really like to use. So I might actually end up using both. I'm going to see how this washi tape looks. I love washi tape because I can take it off after, and if you take it off carefully, it won't rip anything. And I'm just going to place this there, like that. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is glue this down. Like so. The next thing, I'm taking my Merry Christmas and I'm going to prop that up on some 3D tape. I'm going to make sure that I don't go on top of this, because then it's going to end up being an uneven height. So I'm going to put that here. And I do like the look of that washi tape sort of in the background. I think it gives a little something extra. All right, the next thing I needed to do was place these underneath. And now that's easy to do because I put the 3D tape more towards the top. So it should be okay. And I'm going to put these at 2 different lengths, and I'm going to overlap them. And I think having the gray one shorter, just because it's the same part of the same color as the background, it's better to have that one as the shorter one. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the snowflake. Now the snowflake can be a little bit fragile, so I do recommend using something like a Glossy Accents or a liquid adhesive or a glue pen. And what I like to do, and I saw this trick from Debbie Hughes, is I'll take this with my tweezers and I'll just take a scrap piece of paper and kind of just dip it down a little bit so any clumps of glue are not going to get stuck or not going to come out of the sides and show. So I glued it to this part because then you kind of have a 3D effect of it coming off that paper as well. The next thing was this heart. I'm not 100% sure about the heart anymore, just because I think it looks pretty the way it does, and I think adding that color doesn't really work. So I'm going to toss that to the side. As many of you know, I work as I go, so I'm sorry for making you do that work if you have been just watching along with me. I'm going to put that pearl in the middle. I think that pearl is a perfect accent for this. I also have some pearls. These are retired from Close to My Heart, but I know Bo Bunny makes them. And anyway, if you look on Simon Says Stamp and you Google pearls, you'll find tons of options. They usually have them at the dollar store, and yeah. So I'm going to stick one of these big pearls slightly underneath the Polaroid on that banner. And I'm also going to take a couple more of these pearls. Oops. And just put them on my card. Now the rule generally is rule of 3, and 3 always tends to look really good in a cluster if you're doing a cluster of these. So I'm going to take that advice, and if I can get these on there. Hello, bloopers. Oh, seriously. There we go. Usually tweezers make my life easier, but today they're not making my life easier. Okay, perfect. So I really like the way that that's turning out. I'm going to kind of place some of this gold shimmer trim in different areas and see if I can add it without it being too much. I have a feeling it's going to be a little much, so let's see. I gotta find the end of it first. This is brand new, so. If you have never tried shimmer trim, I love it. Close to My Heart makes it. I'm not sure what other companies make it. But I, so far, have had a great experience with it. And I use silver mostly, not so much gold, but there's red and gold for Christmas that make things look really pretty. What I'm going to do, I kind of like that. I'm going to kind of see how it looks when it's just subtle and underneath the Polaroid. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah. I think the card could do with it and do without it. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm going to do it just for fun. I've never used this before, so at least I can say I bought something and I used it. Now I really wish I could show you the original card, but I know we need permission to do that, so I'm not going to. But anyway, I hope you learned a couple of tips and tricks on how to make a card your own, how to take a tutorial and work around the supplies that you don't have. And I hope you enjoyed this sort of shabby chic card inspired by Sherry Carroll. Thank you so much for watching on day 3. Don't forget, if you go back to day 2, there is a giveaway, so make sure that you comment below. Comment below on this one. Please click the thumbs up and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow for day 4.